Hi everyone, I'm Taylor Hudak with Activism Munich reporting to you from London on the Julian Assange extradition hearings. It is now the second week of the court proceedings. In the past 2 days we heard from defense witness Eric Lewis. Eric is a criminal defense attorney based in the United States, and he spoke about what Julian Assange could face if extradited to the U.S. Now, national security defendants in the United States are often tried in the U.S. Eastern District Court of Virginia, which is known as the Espionage Court, because no national security defendant has ever won a case there. This is the exact court that Assange would be tried in if extradited. Lewis testified that Assange would be subjected to SAMs. This means that he possibly would not have confidential meetings with his attorneys and may be put in solitary confinement. This would be devastating for Assange, who is a torture victim. I am now joined by Tim Dawson of the International Federation of Journalists. Tim, I want to thank you for joining me. Do you have any thoughts or an assessment on what took place in court today?
Well, it's interesting. The American government have clearly been, their lawyers have been challenging quite hard on the assessments made by expert witnesses like Eric Lewis and Tom Durkin into the judicial procedure that Julian Assange would face in the United States and the conditions in prison and the kind of sentence he might receive if he is convicted there. They've been challenged quite hard on their evidence, and I think have answered really quite robustly. And it's become evident that there is a very considerable body of evidence that he would serve a very, very long sentence, probably a rest of his life sentence if he were convicted.
Lewis stated that it is likely Assange would face 175 years in prison. He also went on to cite statements from powerful U.S. officials, including Mike Pompeo, who said that WikiLeaks is a non-state hostile intelligence agency.
We've also heard evidence about the extent of political control by the Trump administration that has been exerted upon the Department for Justice. It was asserted by Eric Lewis that the Attorney General regards himself as the hand of Donald Trump, and that although in American law there is clear separation of powers between the judiciary and the executive, in fact, according to Mr. Lewis, Trump has very clearly told the Justice Department that he wants to get Julian Assange and that they need to take whatever actions they think necessary to make that happen.
To discuss more on the testimony of Thomas Dunkin is journalist Mohamed Elmaazi. Can you talk about some of the main points to take away from this afternoon's court proceedings?
Yes, well, Mr. Dunkin, who is qualified to practice in the Supreme Court and has a number of decades experience as a criminal defense lawyer, explained that the practice of overcharging or even simply the draconian sentences that defendants face in federal cases, especially in national security cases, means that there is what he called a trial tax, or intense pressure upon defendants to accept a plea bargain, because on the one hand you're facing decades in prison, and on the other hand you're offered the ability to avoid all of that if you plead guilty and perhaps do something such as give up sources. So that was a key part of the testimony from Mr. Dunkin.
The prosecution continues to attempt to discredit witnesses and ask for binary answers to hypothetical questions that are unrelated to the topic at hand. Court will resume tomorrow morning with the testimony of John Getz and Daniel Ellsberg, so do make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on this case. And if you like the work that we do here, please donate to our organization. I'm Taylor Hudak with Activism Munich, and I'll see you in my next report.